Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Alright friends, so let's do this. It's been a while since we've dug into some polling, and really I think now is the perfect time. We've got a bunch of, let's call it, off-season elections happening, which I think are going to give us some great insight going into 2026, not to mention, we're getting a little bit of a snapshot on where things are going post-Charlie Kirk, and post all the hysteria and all the, let's call it, psyops and strategies that we've seen coming from the left recently. And well, based on my demeanor and the thumbnail and the title, you've probably already gathered that the numbers right now are undeniable, and undeniably good, that is. We're seeing that the massive shift to the right was not just a blip in 2024, it wasn't just a temporary flash. No, it's been building over the last decade, and it doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. And now it feels almost as if we've reached an inflection point, a tipping point. The impact is showing up almost everywhere across the country. In other words, Democrats are absolutely cratering. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright friends, so I want to start off with the New Jersey governor's race. I think this is probably the biggest story right now. We've got a Republican internal poll from National Research, which is one of the most respected pollsters in the game, showing that Jack, I don't want to butcher his name, but I probably will, it's Ciattarelli or maybe Ciattarelli, showing him winning at 46% over Democrat Mickey Sherrill's 45%. And this, my friends, is huge. It's not a massive lead, at least not yet, and again, it's potential, it's a hypothetical, but this signals a massive shift. Ciattarelli has been trailing in the polls for the majority of this race, but after Mickey Sherrill's pathetic debate performance, and I think also after everything that's happened in the national conversation following Charlie Kirk's assassination, well, it seems like the tide is shifting big time, and now this race is looking like a complete toss-up. And well, just to give you guys a little bit of a glimpse into how the debate went, well, I think this moment pretty much sums it all up.
Most people in New Jersey know that the reason Jack didn't run for re-election is because he knew he was going to lose, but nevertheless, it doesn't matter. Hey, we have kids in here. It doesn't matter because I'm going to make sure that he doesn't get to serve again when I win for governor in November of this year.
There's another big difference between her public service and my public service. It actually cost me money the time I put in and took away from my company. In the 7 years that she's been in Congress, she's tripled her net worth. There's another big difference between the two of us, okay? She broke the law. She had to pay fines for violating federal law on stock trades and stock reporting, and the New York Times reports that while you're sitting on the House Armed Services Committee, you were trading defense stocks.
Another Democrat grifter exposed, I guess. That seems to be the trend. It's just utter exposure across the country. People are finally seeing these Democrats for exactly who they are, and it now gets even worse for the Democrat in that race. The momentum doesn't stop there. We've got New Jersey State Fraternal Order of Police now endorsing Ciattarelli. And keep in mind, they backed Phil Murphy back in 2017, then stayed neutral in 2021, and now, well, they're deciding to back the Republican. I think that's yet again another major signal of where things are going on, especially in this part of the country, in the Northeast, where unions are so incredibly powerful in terms of politics. But like I told you guys earlier, it's not just this one poll. We've also got a lot of early ballot data that's showing a trend, and this data continues to be absolutely devastating for the Democrats. In 2024, by day 2 of mail-in ballot returns, Democrats held a 47-point lead over Republicans. Democrats represented roughly 66% of ballots, Republicans were at 19%, but this year, Democrats are down to 62%, while Republicans have jumped up to 25%. That's a 10-point shift in just one cycle. And it's not just in New Jersey, we're seeing the same thing in Pennsylvania. 6 weeks out from Election Day, Republican ballot requests have surged from 25.5% at this point in time in 2024 to now 28% in 2025. Again, showing more erosion of Democrat dominance in early voting. Then in Virginia, same thing, day 1 of early voting turnout shows that the 5 biggest increases in voter turnout are all happening in Trump counties. And the lowest turnouts, the majority of them are happening in blue areas. Well, that pretty much tells you everything that you need to know. Republicans are fired up, Democrats are checked out, or their numbers just continue to dwindle. And let's not forget the bigger picture. Over 2 million more Americans have registered as Republicans in recent years compared to Democrats. Democrats have lost in the voter registration rolls across the country as Republicans continue to gain and gain and gain. It's a tidal shift and it's only accelerating. And I find it funny because the mainstream media keeps declaring MAGA dead, right? They've been saying it for years, every news cycle, every indictment, every hit piece. Every time something happens that's bad for Democrats, out comes their favorite narrative that actually it's Donald Trump who's underwater. Look at the latest YouGov poll. Look at the latest Quinnipiac poll. But again, by the numbers, Donald Trump remains the most popular president in the modern era. And I could say that quite confidently, especially analyzing second-term approval numbers. As you see here, Donald Trump's average approval right now, it may not be honeymoon period 55%, 60%, but it's still a whole lot higher than Barack Obama and Bush from this time during their second terms. And that's despite the constant onslaught. And actually, speaking of that constant onslaught, the core of that messaging attacking President Trump has always been that he is a threat to democracy. I mean, they're still doing it, using the Jimmy Kimmel situation as the core of their argument. But even on that issue, it's not landing. According to Atlas Intel's latest poll, which is, by the way, again, an A+ rated pollster, these are the only polls that I take seriously, Trump now has a +11 approval spread on the issue of safeguarding American democracy. He's sitting at 51% approval and 47% disapproval. In other words, the guy that they claim is going to end democracy is literally the man that most Americans trust to protect it. What does that tell you? Well, it tells you that their core messaging is collapsing in real time. And this is where things get seriously dangerous for the Democrat Party. Because if they're losing the early voting edge, if Republicans are building momentum in blue states like New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, well then what does the 2026 outlook look like? It's looking like it might be a complete disaster for them. The Democrat electoral position right now, I think, is weaker than it's been in decades. And it's no surprise why. It's the lies, the endless fear-mongering, the endless Donald Trump is Hitler rhetoric. I think it's all starting to backfire. Voters are tired of being lied to. They're tired of being told that the sky is falling and that Donald Trump's at the core of every single frickin' issue. Meanwhile, they see what the Democrats are up to. They saw what happened to their livelihoods after 4 years of Joe Biden's failures. And yet, instead of adapting, instead of remaining agile, the Democrats just continue to double down on the hysteria. And the more they do it, the more they expose themselves. They've been screaming that Donald Trump was going to destroy democracy. That was nearly 10 years ago. Meanwhile, American democracy, or rather, the American Republic, seems like it's in pretty good shape. In other words, all the lies are starting to catch up to them. The mischief, the double standards, the censorship, the smear campaigns. It's all coming back to bite them in the ass. And now the result is I think that Republicans are more energized, the tent is growing, and on the flip side, Democrats are demoralized. They're infighting, they're dysfunctional, and probably most importantly, they don't even have a coherent message. It's all over the place, and their message, frankly, for the last 9 years, has been orange man bad. It's been nothing but psyops and slander and lies, fake news. Just like the fake news that they continue to attempt to speak into existence, that the MAGA movement is dead. Well, folks, it doesn't seem like the MAGA movement is dead. I think it's stronger than ever. The tide has turned. And if these numbers hold, if this trend continues, well, I think 2026 is shaping up to be an absolute wipeout for the Democrats. And that's likely to snowball moving into 2028 as well. As we see, there's still no genuine talent within the Democrat ranks. They're somehow thinking Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom are going to come to save the day. Well, I don't know. I can't think of anything more naive. Two failed incompetents from California. The MAGA train continues. And I guess next stop, New Jersey and potentially Virginia. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.